So I recently watched a video of a police officer shooting and killing a man who was on a wheelchair. And people saw this video and they were like, "Oh my God, look at this cop just kill this disabled man. I've never seen anything like this. This was an execution. It's so horrible, blah, 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 blah." So I watched the video, and basically what happened was this wheelchaired man, whose name was Richard Lee Richards, went inside of a Walmart and he stole a toolbox. And I have no idea why a guy on a wheelchair needs a toolbox. Like, what's he going to use it for? I don't know. He's supposedly disabled, right? And he buys a toolbox. Is he going to hammer some nails? Is he going to saw some wood? I don't know. Supposedly disabled. He steals a toolbox. So this guy steals a toolbox and he is heading out of the Walmart. But as he is heading towards the exit, the Walmart employee at the exit asks him for his receipt. Like, "Hey, where's your receipt?" Because they check your receipt at the exit before you leave. And this disabled man, Mr. Richards, pulls out a knife and he said, "Here is my receipt." So an employee calls the police and says, "Hey, this guy came into the store and he stole something and he pulled out a knife." So two police officers come over to Mr. Richards as he is trying to enter a Lowe's. So he went into a Walmart, robbed the Walmart, and now he's about to enter Lowe's armed with a knife. He is heading towards the entrance, and right inside of the store, right at the entrance from within the store is an employee. And the police officer takes out his gun, points it at Richards, points it at this wheelchaired guy, and says, "Hey, don't enter the store." Now, he is about to enter the store. He is getting very close to an employee. He is armed with a knife. For all this police officer knew, this guy could have been faking being disabled as a front because, a guy in a wheelchair is just harmless. I mean, what's a guy in a wheelchair going to do? He's harmless, right? No one expects the guy in the wheelchair to do anything. So for all the cop knew, this guy could have been faking it, and he could have just got up from the wheelchair and he could have stabbed the employee. He could have tried to stab the officer or the other officer because there were two officers present. He could have been very dangerous with a knife. So the cop wasn't going to take any chances, and he shoots and he kills this wheelchaired guy. And you have all these doofuses on the YouTube comment section who are like, "Unjustified killing, unjustified killing, unjustified killing, unjustified killing." And I'm sitting here like, wait a second. Put yourself in the cop's shoes. You have a guy who is armed with a knife. He just robbed a Walmart. And for all he knew, he could have been completely faking being on a wheelchair. He could have gotten up from the wheelchair. He could have harmed the employee. He could have done something really, really violent. The cop was not going to take a chance. I don't see why this is a big deal. I really don't. When you have a police officer pointing a gun at someone and tells this someone to not enter the store after he had just robbed a Walmart, and this guy does not listen, what kind of a person is this? What kind of a person doesn't listen to a police officer when the cop has a gun on him, when the cop is pointing his weapon at him and he doesn't listen? This is a freaking maniac. This guy is a total maniac. Total maniac. He could be very, very capable of doing something destructive and dangerous. In fact, this Richards guy had a very long criminal history. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison for attempted first-degree murder. He was a people smuggler. This guy was very violent. He was evil, this person. And I don't see why people are acting like they're shocked about this. And this police officer was fired. I think this is complete bullshit. It's complete bullshit. It's like the Rittenhouse case. People were saying, oh, this man's a murderer. He shot and killed protesters and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, no, Rittenhouse was armed with a weapon. It was blatantly obvious that he was armed with a weapon. And when you have a mob going after him, even though he is armed with a gun and they're still going after him, those people are obviously reckless. They are, and they obviously don't care that this person is armed with a weapon, which is very indicative that they mean bodily harm to you. If they see you armed with a weapon and they keep coming after you and they don't care that you have a weapon, you have to assume at that point that these people are intending to do something very violent and destructive to you, because the weapon is not deterring them away from you. So it's the same thing with this wheelchair guy. Like, this guy has a knife. The cop is pointing the gun at him, and he doesn't care. In fact, he told the cop, if you want me to drop the knife, you're going to have to shoot me. That's what this wheelchair guy said. So for all the cop knew, this guy could have gotten up from the wheelchair and done something vicious, done something sanguinary, something destructive. He could have killed somebody. It's a bullshit response. And I read the YouTube comments underneath the video, and people are like, unjustified, terrible. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Ah! When someone is told by the police, don't go into the store after they rob somebody, and they don't listen, that person is a danger to society, because he is so reckless that a police officer's weapon does not scare him. It's amazing how many people will just defend trash. Seriously, they will defend trash. It's like someone does something evil, like thievery, and you say, don't do it, don't go into the store, and they don't listen. You should expect the worst. You should expect nothing but bad things from this person. So those are my thoughts on that. I think it's a bullshit response. And I don't think the cop deserves this sort of negative response. I just don't see it. Anyway, you guys just heard some theology. God bless.